Welcome back to the ending of Professor Layton and the Diabolical Box. Oh no, it's the servant. Take care that you don't slip, Luke. The floor is polished to an almost blinding shine.
Wow, you're right. It's like a mirror. Who do you think does all this polishing?
I do. That would be me, sir.
Ah, it's the butler.
Yes. I most certainly am. I don't mean to be presumptuous, but what are you two doing up at this hour? If you're having trouble falling asleep, I suggest a good strong puzzle to clear and relax the mind.
You're not gonna try to stop us or anything?
Stop you? Young sir, I haven't the foggiest notion what you're talking about. Now, where was I? Ah, yes, that puzzle. The hall has been fitted with a hidden door. The hall has been fitted with a hidden door. Though to my chagrin, I've forgotten where. However, I do recall an old saying the servants used in days past to remember the location of the door. I will now recite to you the saying, and your task, dear guests, will be to decipher the door's location.
Just say we have a puzzle, man. Come on.
He did!
Fuck.
Begin from the doors etched in the decor. A path will appear strong and quite clear. Made of the stars that flare, each within its own square. Those words are said to point the way to the hidden door. Select the hidden door.
Huh. Okay. Each within its own square. I mean, yeah, you follow these ones.
I'll follow those around.
Oh. Bonk. It's an arrow.
Consider
Okay.
this puzzle solved. Ha! Wonderful.
Masterfully solved, sirs. Now that you've completed that little nightcap, might I suggest returning to your quarters? Those old halls can get quite drafty in the dead of night.
I'll keep that in mind. Good night to you.
And to you too. Why aren't you still here? The exit is directly behind you, dear guest.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh.
Can I help you?
Nope.
Professor, I think I see a way we can get out of here.
Our search led us to the castle, and we're on the verge of revealing what killed Dr. Schrader. We must search this place thoroughly before we make our escape. Let's see what else is here.
Gee, Professor, I don't know if that's such a good idea.
Luke, listen to me. We can't turn back and run. Not now. We're so close to uncovering the truth about Volsense and the Elysian box. We must press on. Oh, okay.
take a look at this picture. Fuck.
Take a look at this photograph.
That's where my mind went immediately, and I'm like trying to hold it together.
There he is, larger than life, the current master of Herzen Castle.
You mean the guy who just tried to tie us up and drink our blood?
Strange.
What's strange, Professor?
This picture. It shows far too much wear to have been made recently. Yet you saw Anton yourself. The man and his portrait are virtually identical.
If he doesn't age, he really must be a vampire. I knew it! We need to get out of here this instant!
Perhaps those rumors in the town weren't entirely unfounded. But running about in a panic has never solved anything. Why don't we take a moment to clear our heads with this puzzle about portraits?
Are you kidding, Professor? I don't think we really have time for this right now.
Finally, they speak sense.
Yeah, finally, someone speaks sense. I didn't know they were going to get that meta, though.
The boy, he knows. Two brothers have inherited their parents' 5 art-piece art collection. According to the will, the older brother will get a set of paintings worth twice that. The younger brother, fuck. In order to ascertain the value of the paintings, the brothers called in an appraiser, who valued each painting as shown below. For his services, the appraiser has promised the one painting left over. The brothers divided the art according to their parents' wishes. Assuming that individual paintings can't be divided, which one does the appraiser get?
Okay, so we have to figure out which ones can add up to where, like, one of them gets twice the amount, and one will get left out of that.
Ay.
I'm thinking one of the ones with a 5 in it will have to get left behind, if I'm thinking about that right, but maybe I'm not. No, yeah, I think that would make sense.
Yes.
Well, let's see.
Let's see here.
These add together to make a flat 100, right? 100k? Yeah.
Yeah, 100k, yeah.
160. Make 180. 120 plus 60,000? Yeah.
120, yeah, that'd be 80, yeah.
He gets the most valuable one. The appraiser
he gets the most valuable one.
Consider this puzzle.
I had that suspicion kind of going into it, but I was like working my way through it logically to see if that worked.
Unsolved.
Nicely answered, Luke. Perhaps it didn't seem like the ideal time for a puzzle, but being able
Really
to
didn't.
stand back and think critically in a time of stress is a skill of utmost importance.
I appreciate Hell yeah, man. Tell it. I appreciate the sentiment, Professor, but right now solving puzzles is the last thing on my mind. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Luke, Luke is...
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, I do believe that's...
Katya?
Oh. Why are you two here?
I could ask you the same thing. It's dangerous here. There's a vampire living in this castle, you know.
When were you just dancing with him?
Anton?
A nightmare or whatever?
He's no vampire. He's just...
Yeah, that was a nightmare. I'm quite puzzled, Katya. What do you know about this man?
It's not for me to say. Besides, right now you must focus all your efforts on escaping. If you linger here, the madness will grip you before long.
Madness? I'm afraid I don't understand. Please be honest with us. What's happening here?
Very well, I'll explain everything, but first you must get as far from this castle as possible. Quickly! I know the way out. Follow me.
How are you related to this entire situation? Are you?
There's no time. You've got to get out of here.
This won't do. People are trying to sleep, you know. Is it you? It can't be. Oh, how I've waited. It's been so unbearably long.
Professor, do you know what he's talking about?
Not in the slightest.
Come closer, my dear sweet Sophia. I've missed you so. What's this? Very well, then. Is this how it is? I didn't see this coming, Layton. Not at all.
I'm not sure I understand.
This is your fault, but you can't have my Sophia. You're going to be very sorry you crossed me. There's no lack of swords here. Take whichever one you like. Know this, though. Only one of them is real. A true warrior always keeps his blade in hand.
It leads to a puzzle. Alright. So, Anton's last words to Professor Layton before the start of their duel. Can you find the one real sword among Anton's collection? Circle your selection. Try your weapon of choice.
Is it the sword that the suit of armor is holding?
Yeah, its suit of armor is holding. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is the one actually being held by a suit of armor? Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yup.
I didn't think you had it in you, Mr. Layton.
Bob's Layton. I mean, I didn't think he was a sword fighter like this. And he even took time to catch his hat. I mean...
Layton! Sophia belongs to me. You can't have her.
Calm down, bro.
I don't think that's what's happening here, brother. Shout out to animation, though. It's pretty good.
Yeah, shout out to this animation. And it's actually a pretty extended fight, too.
Something strange is happening. I just need to catch my breath.
No more! Please, just stop!
What's happened to me?
Are you all right?
Please just stop, Grandfather. Your body can't take it.
Oh!
Oh.
What did you say? I don't understand. Sophia, dear.
You haven't figured it out, have you? You really don't know. Then I guess it's up to me to tell you the truth.
I'm your granddaughter, Anton.
Don't be ridiculous. Look at me. I'm too young to be anyone's grandfather.
But what you see around you isn't real. It's just an illusion created by your own mind. Your youth is part of that illusion. The truth is, well...
Allow me, please. The gold mine built by your father, the late Duke Herzen, brought this town much growth and prosperity. But something terrible slept deep within that rich gold deposit. Unbeknownst to the miners, they hit a vein of hallucinogenic gas while digging for gold. The gas made those who breathed it extremely susceptible to mental suggestions of all types. Tales of the nightmarish visions seen in False Sense then spread, as did the town's sinister reputation. In truth, neither the False Sense we see before us, nor its residents, really exists. I take issue with this, I'll talk about it later. This is all a creation of our minds.
What the fuck? How did you figure it all out, Professor?
The images of Folsense we saw are 50 years old, yet they show a town identical to the Folsense of today. No town can remain unchanged for 50 long years. The photos we saw on the train station formed our impression of the Folsense we'd see. The Folsense of 50 years ago. Enough of this madness. Folsense is real. I'm real.
None of it's real, Grandfather. This town is just a thin shadow, an illusion born of greed. You and Sophia, everything you know changed 50 years ago.
I mostly take issue with it on the prospect of that they imply that all the residents aren't real too, but there are directly contradictory things to that. There are clues in dialogue from characters that hint at the fact that things aren't as they seem, and even like there's that little boy who's like, oh man, like I used to run around all the time, but I get so tired. Am I getting old? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
so I think it's a bit of a miscommunication between the writers and what they wanted the twist to be, because I do think that everyone's hallucinating, and maybe even it's quite possible we met some residents who were like not really there, but I also think that some people are still living in the town and just tripping out, not realizing what the town actually is at this point.
Yeah, that actually makes more sense, especially if they don't know about the gas. People just think this is real life. So it's like, yeah. The kid getting tired running around, I mean, if he's actually, instead of being 8, say he's 58.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're not going to be running around quite so much.
Katya is the granddaughter of Sophia and Anton. Hello. Katya set out for Folsense to make sure that Anton understood Sophia's true feelings and reasons for leaving. Fuck. The hallucinogenic gas present in Folsense's air caused Layton and the others to imagine the station as it was in the many photographs lining the corridor leading out to the building. So I have one alternative little thing to note here. I know that some of it's just like, you know, you have to just accept that that's what's happening. Like, sure, they saw photographs of the town, and that's how they determined what the town looks like when they're hallucinating. They really both saw the same people? They hallucinated the same people doing the same things?
Yeah.
That's also why I say, like, I think it makes more sense if the people are actually real, but they're not. They don't look the way you think they do.
Like,
yeah, like that would make sense.
Because, like, they have active conversations together with these hallucinations that respond to things both of them say, so they're hallucinating both of these things happening. That's wild.
I mean, they explicitly,
not how hallucinations work.
They explicitly put hints in the dialogue to indicate that these people are real, but they're not what they seem, which is why I think that there was some kind of miscommunication with the translator or with different writers in the writing room. Because there's a way for that to work, it's just, it contradicts what Layton just said. Unless we're not meant to interpret this is all a creation of our minds quite the way he said it, because I mean, by the logic of everything and everyone is fake, like, Anton would be too, and that's also explicitly not what's happening here. He's real.
Yes, by Layton's logic, him and Luke have just been wandering around in a field for the past day and a half. I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I don't believe it.
But you and I are betrothed. How can you just leave me here? I won't have it.
This whole town is cursed. If we remain here, all those dear to me will die.
Am I not dear to you, Sophia? Stay with me, and we'll rebuild Folsense together.
Sorry, Anton, but there's someone else I love who needs me more than you do.
Is that the real reason you want to go? Because there's someone else? I trusted Sophia, and she left me for another.
got it all wrong, Grandfather. She never betrayed you.
What?
Oh.
The other she was talking about was the little life growing inside of her. The life you two created together.
No. That can't be.
I'm sorry, Anton, but there's someone else I love who needs me more than you.
I never knew. Sophia was.
That's right. Grandmother was carrying my mother, and she left Folsense to keep her safe. She kept the baby a secret to avoid causing you more pain.
I've been so wrong.
Grandmother passed away last year, but she was always talking about you, even towards the end. She never stopped loving you.
Well, that's sad.
Yeah.
Anton invented the whole vampire scheme to scare off those who would try to loot the hers and fortune. He did this by whisking away all those who came too close to the castle and setting them free to run away once properly scared.
Basically Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo villain.
Something about I can't. Okay, one more thing that kind of minorly annoys me here, and I know it's just like no one's gonna be like, okay, let me rephrase this. Just say, hey, yo, we've got a kid coming. Really?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm pretty sure if, like...
I'm guessing it has something to do with the idea of he can't leave because he's the Duke. Like, he can't leave the town. He can't abandon it.
His brother seemed to have wanted it, so like, hey, yeah, you have this. And, I mean...
be that as it may, being intentionally vague about... I mean, even if he doesn't leave, you can at least...
It would be better to tell him, obviously.
Yeah, it would be better to tell him, even if he decides not to go, like, hi, yeah, like, we do have a child together.
And it doesn't bother me that the character did this. It bothers me that the game doesn't seem to think that was a mistake.
Yeah, like, really. I mean, yeah, she did it, hey, fine, but she shouldn't have. Please. Yeah. I 100% agree with Brute here. Like, she should have at least been.
I didn't know how the end of this game was going to land because of, like, there's a lot of emotional stuff in it, but also there's these, like, weird things with it. I was just waiting to make sure we're kind of said what we wanted to say for now, because the next part's like a movie scene.
Yeah. We're good for now. But the way this is going, like, I mean, yeah.
I mean, it pretty much went. You got the revelation. Now it's just dealing with the fallout of that.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk when it's done, I guess.
Sophia is dead?
No, it can't be. I've had enough of your lies!
Oh! No!
Stage of grief, denial.
Guy can cut steel with his sword. That's a pretty impressive feat.
Grandfather, no! Please stop!
And now he gets smashed by the chandelier. Oh.
We must leave now.
The whole place is starting to crumble!
Come with me.
What's this? What's happening?
Come on, Grandfather, we have to get out of here!
Be careful.
Hole's getting plugged up.
Yeah.
It seems I've found the answers I was searching for. Here, allow me to return this to you. Thank you.
So the box wasn't cursed after all.
No, Luke, there's no curse to be found here. But if I were to guess, I suspect you'd find traces of that gas in the ore used to make this box. The same fumes that drove the town to ruin were released upon each person who opened the box. Those who opened the box expected death, and in doing so, fulfilled their own grim predictions.
Suppose it was just an ordinary box then.
Oh, I assure you, it's far from ordinary. This box was crafted to hold the words of my heart.
What do you mean?
The box contains a hidden message, one meant only for Sophia. Many years ago, I asked a traveler passing through town to deliver it to her. Unfortunately, the box's value made it a target for those hungry for wealth. And so it was stolen again and again, thus perpetuating the whole chain of sad events.
But we checked the box. It was empty as could be.
Ah, well, that's because there's actually a second way to open it. The sun rises when you and I meet, and when the wind blows, you will know my heart. These old words are the key to understanding this box and what it means. Do you follow, boy?
I think so. Let me give it a shot. The sun rises when you and I meet, and when the wind blows, you will know my heart. Oh my god. You had to stick one more in there. You had to get one more in there. These are the words. These words are the key to opening the Elysium box. It's up to you to find a way to open the box and solve the final puzzle of our story.
Touch the screen.
Touch the screen.
Touch
Oh.
the screen. Spin. Face the sun. And blow.
Oh
That
my
was loud.
god. Hell yeah.
That was almost too easy.
I'll have to make that quieter in editing.
I did it.
Oh,
What's the matter?
this isn't the letter I wrote. This is Sophia's handwriting. The
Oh.
box must have made it to her after all.
My dear Anton, are you well? I received your letter. Though I'd like nothing more than to see you again, I'm afraid I no longer have the strength to do so. You don't know how many times I've thought about you over the years. I often wonder if you hate me for what I did. Do you? When I decided to leave, I was carrying our child. I couldn't bear exposing that tiny life to such danger. I knew your father's position and understood you didn't have the option to leave with me. Even though I did the only thing I could, I'll always regret leaving you that way. But there's one bright spot in this sad story, and that is our lovely granddaughter, Katya. My departure all those years ago has given you the chance to meet. Katya's mother died shortly after she was born, but Katya grew up strong and sweet, just the same. She reminds me of you every time she smiles. With her around, I could never forget about you, even if I wanted to. You've been in my thoughts since the day we parted. And now, though my time here is drawing to a close, I like to think we'll meet again on the other side. The thought of seeing your face warms my heart. Be well and be happy, my dear Anton. Goodbye, but just for now, your Sophia.
Oh, Sophia. I finally understand now.
Could have given us this to us earlier.
Turns out that the Elysian box was crafted 50 years ago to carry a letter from Anton to his love, Sophia. A gas present in the material used to make the box causes hallucinations in those who open it. These visions are how the rumors of a curse began.
Grandfather.
Grandfather? Yes, that's right. It has a nice ring to it. I am so happy we met, my dear granddaughter.
You don't know how much this means to me.
It's been so long, so very long, in fact, that I had forgotten what love even felt like. Instead, my love for Sophia was replaced by anger, and that anger completely blinded me. But now I can see the world clearly again, thanks to you, my granddaughter.
Sorry I tried to murder you back
Sophia?
there.
I'll have to put off returning to your side for a while. There's someone I need to get to know here first. Will you forgive me for making you wait just a little longer, my dear?
Wherever she is, I'm sure she's very happy for us.
So we're not going to question if the butler got out alive? He just dead?
I don't think the butler's real, my guy.
See ya! Bye!
And that was the tale of the Elysian box, a relic feared for the fatal curse it was said to carry. But, when all was said and done, there was no curse sleeping under its gilded lid. Instead, the box was revealed for what it truly was. A vessel created to carry the love of two kindred spirits through all of time. While terror brought the box its notoriety, in the end, its most powerful message was one of love.
All right.
All right, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
There's holes in this story. I'm
Oh
sorry.
yeah, there's absolutely.
There's holes in this story, and
I hate that the biggest hole even has, like, an explanation that's right there, like there were clues left for it, but they seem to kind of act like that's not what it is at the very ending, which is weird, and probably has to do with the game being rushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
looking
guess,
at the release date, so it had to be, right?
Yeah, because looking at there's no way Anton and Katya were the only actual people we've been talking to this entire
Well, I
game.
mean, like,
once we got the full set,
we interacted with things physically. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I would. I don't know. Obviously, the reveals there at the end didn't work very well for me.
Yeah, they really didn't. I mean, I'll be honest. I think the first one, story-wise, the first one was better. It had a better mystery, and when it started giving answers, they actually were answers and not this They didn't stick the land. They didn't stick the ending here.
They definitely gave us answers. I don't think they were very good answers.
Yes, they gave us answers. It just not very good ones.
I don't even think the problem with this one is the mystery itself. The idea of like, oh, why does this box kill people? Not terrible. The payoff being they were hallucinating all along, and somehow their hallucinations coincided. I don't like that.
They
all would have had a unique hallucination. I think the point is that the hallucination invoked heart attack, death by fear, whatever kind of thing.
Okay, but if the idea is that they're like everyone was hallucinating people in this town, they weren't written that way. They were written.
No, yeah, that part I kept saying. That doesn't track.
Were written, yeah.
They were even intentionally had dialogue to point to like, hey, I'm here and I'm real, but I'm not as young as I think I am.
Yeah.
There was a really interesting comment really early in the game that probably went by everyone, where someone mentioned how dark it was in the town, despite how brightly lit up everything appears to be from our perspective at that point.
I feel like if you want to make your story have the reveal be that a lot of it was hallucinations, your primary cast can't involve a duo. It doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't. Because
they clearly had a different explanation brewing there, and they just kind of didn't go with it. Something got screwed up in the works somewhere, kind of last minute.
Oh, I like that picture.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because it sucks because, like you said, this even like a non-completely hold version of the story is there. Just like there's a version of the story that doesn't have such a gaping hole in it. It's right there, but they didn't stick the landing and instead punctured a big hole in it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
What else was I gonna say? Shit, I had something else. I don't know.
All that work for nothing.
Damn you! Damn you! I think honestly, the biggest problem with the game isn't even that's a pretty big problem. But I think the more overarching problem is just the pacing and the structure of the game. In terms of as a complete package, there's a lot of meandering to an absurd degree, even for what these games do, and boy, do they love shoveling puzzles down your throat all the time. It's a lot.
And that is just kind of the name of the game, even from the first one. But this one it's more. I'll touch on that in a minute. But this one legitimately is more dense with the puzzles than the others.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's presentation is
oh, there's the butler.
Yeah, there's the butler.
Damn, dude just chilling. All right.
Yeah, dude's just chilling. I mean, makes sense.
We spend a lot of time on the train, and I feel like a lot of it doesn't matter. To even in terms of you don't see half of those people ever again.
Yeah.
The only two people on the train that matter are really matter.
I think there's a movie scene here.
Oh wait.
Come look at this article, you two.
Huh? Miracle Rescue saves beloved academic. So, the doctor's alive after all.
We'll visit him as soon as we return.
Oh, but that might conflict with the symposium you have scheduled in London tomorrow.
Well then, I'll simply have to cancel.
Huh?
After all, Luke, one must always show gratitude to one's teachers. That's what a gentleman does.
Okay, so I forgot. They didn't actually totally gloss over that. It's actually brought up in a movie scene.
Oh yeah. The reveal being some variation of the people are not what they seem or whatever. Isn't that just what we did in the first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. That's literally the same thing. It's just in the first one, they were
They're
sentient
robots.
machines. In this one, everyone's just older.
And or not real. I don't know. One of those.
But with all the art there at the end, that was showing everyone in town as they're supposed to look. So,
That's the weird part.
Those were the residents of Dropstone. Dropstone was founded by the people who fled Full Sense 50 years ago.
So it's like a little bit of a retread, but like less effective.
Yeah. Bit of a retread, and it's not as good because they messed up the ending. They messed up the explanation. And with the mystery, if it doesn't make sense, yeah.
That being said, positive things. I think Layton and Luke are still very well written.
Yeah. Layton and Luke are still there, and honestly, the ride was interesting enough.
Yeah.
Because everything was there. It's just the ending.
I don't know if I entirely agree. Like, I don't think it's a bad game, but like I said, I was playing earlier. I think a lot of it was
meandering.
A little like not just that it was meandering. That's not inherently a problem. That's kind of what these games do. I just think it was like too much in that direction. Fuck.
I'll be honest. The first time I played it, though, the ending did actually like hit me on the emotions and stuff, because even though there's like the weird remark that Layton makes that doesn't actually make sense, and I kind of end up having to headcanon that's not, because it doesn't even seem to be what the writers were going for earlier in the game, where they're like intentionally hinting that like, oh, these characters exist, but they're not in the state they think they're in. But the ending still hit, and there is like, it's a shame that it gets mired by the plot hole and everything, because there is like a strong emotional core to what they're doing there, even though there's unfortunate issues with it, like the whole, his love left him, but she had a good reason for doing so after all, and he gets to find out that like 50 years of his life has gone by, and he doesn't even know, and he's just like, everything he knew is gone and has just like crumbled, and you get to see that literally happen with the scene of the town being revealed for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, it hit, it's still good. It's just, and that is emotional, and like, good hit where they're going. As we mentioned, granted, shouldn't have done that, but yeah, for what it is, it hits hard. It does have that ending. It's just, we're cynical at that plot hole, people.
It's like, I mean, I guess being fair, if I wasn't watching this, I probably wouldn't have. This isn't really my kind of game. Like, I just wouldn't play this.
Oh yeah, like honestly, yeah.
I'm focusing in on like the part that I care about, which is like the story.
Yeah.
The casual puzzle stuff is like, it's cool. I think it has place. It's just not really my thing. So
yeah, like
I'm probably being a little bit harder on it than I.
I mean, to be honest, I care more about the story than the other stuff for this series too. But like, but that's kind of where I did like. I can enjoy the gameplay for what it is too when I'm not recording it, when I can just like more casually do it, and that's like I got the first one not really expecting much from it, but the plot had so much more going for it than I thought, which is why I was really into continuing with the series, and then was kind of even more so there for the plot from that point.
I don't know. I guess it really just wasn't as concise as I would like it to be. Maybe that's the way to put it. It's in the first game.
And honestly, the plot is concise enough, but it gets dragged down by, well, no. The beginning part is too long, because that's one of the major problems right there, is this game has like, was it 7-8 chapters, and 4 of them are spent on the train and in the other town.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, concise is the closest I can come to, because like, first game, you're there out the gate, really. I mean, you have like a puzzle outside of the town, right? You gotta like lower that bridge or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're just there. You're there. It's very concisely built, and there's room for multiple locales under like done the right way. I don't feel like spending just over right half the game not in the primary location of the mystery is a little weird.
Yeah.
And if you really want your mystery, you don't have to have your mystery based on a location. You could, but if they were going to do it based on this box, I feel like they should have really honed in on the box. But then the way they wrote the story wouldn't have worked that way, obviously. I'm just saying, like, you know, you got to focus in on something, and I don't really feel like they focused in on any particular part of this mystery. Whereas the first game, you know, was basically about that town. I don't remember what it was called, but, you know, that town. So,
Saint Mystere. Yeah.
Yeah. To a certain, maybe to a less exaggerated extent than when people usually say something like this, but the town itself was almost not really a character, but like a central element. And I feel like the box should have been treated that way instead of mostly not being relevant until like a really early chapter and really late in the game.
Yeah, that was also a problem. I even pointed out like midway in the story. It's just like, yeah.
Here's this box.
You had a really good way of putting it at one point. Professor Layton in the mostly irrelevant box.
Yeah. Like, I just don't feel like the box. Maybe the issue is that they named it after the box. If the box was just an element of the story and really wasn't like brought to the forefront like this, it would just been part of the story.
Yeah, it could have been like Professor Layton in the Phantom Town.
Yeah. Instead they parade this box around, and you're like, oh my god, the box, and then it's just like, yeah, there you go. We don't really care. Here, but look at this mine, and you're like, oh, why didn't we talk about that more? I don't know. I could go on in circles here.
I do want to talk at least a little bit though about what you can expect in terms of like going into another sequel after this, because this kind of was like a lower note after the experience of the first game. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's a couple stats I looked at. Like it's like in the first game we ended up solving all the puzzles in the game anyway, but like the mandatory number of puzzles in the first game was 82. The mandatory amount in this was 88, but it only went up slightly, but there's also 2 less story chapters than in the first game.
Yeah. So maybe it's not even. So I guess it's not really the number of puzzles. It's just how like condensed it all is.
Yeah. And like the next game, it bumps that up from 88 to 100 to complete the story. But there are 15 chapters.
So there's 5 more?
This one had 7.
Oh, okay.
So it's like double. It has twice as many chapters.
Okay.
There's more cutscene too. Like the first game had 10 minutes of animated cutscenes. This one actually had 19 minutes. The third game bumps it up to 35 minutes of fully animated cutscenes.
Holy cow. For the record, I have pretty good expectations for like the next game in just like a general sense. Like I don't really think I'm holding this game as the standard of the series or anything. Mm-hmm. I just think it's probably the series low point. That's it.
Probably.
I don't really think it's probably going to be like the.
I haven't played the whole series, and from some things I've heard, I'm not sure if it's the definitive low point, but at least of what I've played of like the trilogy, it is the low point.
It's definitely out of what we've played so far. These 2 games, it's definitely not as good. I don't want to make it sound like I think it's bad though. I mean, if you play it differently than we do, it's probably a really good time.
I mean, there's still the plot holes that that affect some people more strongly than others.
I've like
it is an opinion that some people like. It's not like you're alone in this really not working.
Well, no, I didn't think so. I just think it's also like I'm definitely not like the audience for this game in terms of a game. The story is great to me. Like the stories of these games are great for me. I am not the guy they make the gameplay for. I like puzzle games. I just don't like this kind of casual approach to it. Not because I think there's anything wrong with that. It's not how I engage with video games. You know, this is something you fuck. Excuse me. This is something you would. I'd imagine you'd spend off and on amount of time. You know.
Yeah, like actually playing this little by little, you know, like just like any other game.
Or even if you don't, if you play it more at once, the story doesn't seem as like it takes forever to get anywhere. If you like, because if you only spend a couple hours and then you're getting sidetracked by all these damn puzzles, you don't even get like any story. But if you play more at once, you actually get somewhere.
Either way, I think I do think the way we play this game probably didn't benefit it anyway. And that's just the side effect of how we have to do things here.
Yeah.
But it doesn't entirely negate my complaints either.
In terms of like the next games for expectations to it too, though, I do have to say like you have to expect it to gets crazy compared to what we've seen so far.
What am I looking at?
The next game in the series is called Professor Layton and the Unwound Future. The UK name is Professor Layton and the Last Time Travel.
Wow.
So it goes places.
It sounds like it. Okay.
All right.
It is also definitively the end to Layton's journey and his story, because when they did more games afterward, they did a trilogy of prequels. When they finally did a game that takes place after this, they set it far enough in the future that they could make the protagonist someone else instead of Layton. So the third game is the end of Layton's journey, chronologically speaking.
Should I get out the tombstone, or?
Since it kind of came up in the middle of like discussions, like sort of like the comparisons are almost unfair with like Phoenix Wright, which it's inevitable they'll almost be in a way because we're doing them back to back, which is maybe not the best thing. We'll see how it is when we actually get to it, but at least by my memory, the third Layton game does actually stack up well as being like the end of a trilogy and like being good. But I will also say, even with my memory being pretty good, my memory of it being pretty good, having recently played the third Phoenix Wright game myself, they don't stack up. Like, I remember really liking it and it being good. It's not Phoenix Wright 3 good, but that may be even just a consequence of how the comparison is unfair because of like the Phoenix Wright game is maybe similar in length, or maybe it could be maybe like 5-ish hours longer. But it also gets to tell its story without being sidetracked by like 100 puzzles. And in terms of the structure, we've seen how the Wright games build off of each other, whereas the Layton games are very self-contained. So you have like something that ends a trilogy, but while being basically self-contained, versus something that actually builds off of like the 3 games worth of build-up.
It is inherent that they are made from different perspectives as like storytelling, I think.
Yeah.
Just different like design philosophies behind them, and comparing them isn't really fair. And it's not really something I'm trying to do. It's more just like one style apparently appeals to me more, I guess.
I mean, so and it comes up because we're doing both of them, so
it's just hard to be like, this is really good, this is really good because of this, and this is really bad because of this, when they're not like comparable. But it's also kind of like, this is what I gotta do. It's like, this is why I like this, and this is why this isn't working for me. And, you know, I don't know. Different designs appeal to different people. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and I was sitting here saying, like, as someone who really liked the third game, though, I think Phoenix Wright is just such good writing, and the way it builds off of past games instead of being a self-contained thing just makes it better in a way that Layton couldn't really have been by being a self-contained story.
Yeah. But that's like the design philosophy thing, where it's like, you can approach a sequel as a series of a series of like events tying into one another, one after the other, which works all the time. I mean, Dead Space 1 and the Dead Space 2 is a direct, like, this happens because thing X happened. Dead Space 2 happens because Dead Space 1 happened, right? You could have just presented Layton 2 as its own story with a couple of tweaks, and it would just work. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if this were just the first Layton game, and they just changed a couple of things, and then 1 came out as 2 or something, minor tweaks, and it'd work. But, like, just using the Dead Space example, Dead Space 2 is ingrained in what happened in Dead Space 1 as a story.
Yeah.
Mostly in terms of, like, Isaac as a character is informed heavily by the fact that he went through this thing. It's not really what happens with Layton, because it's the kind of story we're telling here. So it's just the different perspectives. And then there's, like, I mean, there's a million ways to approach these things, I guess. So
Yeah, that's just kind of my thing, is I just want to put it out there of, like, this is your teaser image of the next game, and that's where I think the expectation should lie, is that, like, I do think it should land a lot better than this game did. At the same time, don't have your expectations too high, because we're literally about to go into a game between these two Layton games that the third Layton game can't live up to. So
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. Right.
like, they're both
Yeah,
good. It's just that if you're comparing them, one of them is clearly better.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
One more thing. The animations, but that last animated cutscene, the sword fight cutscene, not the last one, was fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was a damn good sword fight.
I'm guessing, like, there's where most of the sequel budget went.
There's our budget right there.
Yeah, there's our budget. We're going to have Layton fence a vampire.
Oh, also,
there you go.
He pulled up, by the way.
Yeah.
Also that, and in the first game, the only bit of voice acting was in movie scenes, and in that very little part at the start where, like, Layton and Luke were reading about the letter about the town they were going to. And the whole rest of the game after that is just not voice acted. You get the little beeps and boops until you get movie scenes, and that's it. This game, any point, if you're paying attention, where, like, the little text sound, where that went away, that's because that had voice acting. I removed it so that we could have fun voicing it instead, and have the voice consistent. But this game had more voice acting, too, in addition to just, like, more movie scenes. Okay. And that continues with, like, the third game, where there would be maybe quite a bit we wouldn't get to voice if I hadn't removed it.
Oh, well.
All right. Anything else? Any wrap up thoughts
I think that
here?
pretty much wraps up my thoughts, like, good and bad.
I think we put a bow on it.
Yeah.
So next time, something else, and then third game at some point.
Yeah, at some point, more Layton.
What's next? We technically know. Is it going to be what actually gets uploaded after this? You fucking know it isn't. Oh, maybe.
In this one case, probably, but still.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, you'll find out, I guess, and by that I mean you'll have no idea, but we'll know.
Yeah.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know anything.
Bye.
Bye.